fries at Burger King. Crispy, crunchy pretzel outside.
Alright, chill.
Oh, the agony, the drama, the tragedy of having a loved one betray you. It's not very often nowadays that we get twist villains that are well written, but the Prowler is one that not only surprises people, but is actually memorable and cool and threatening. It creates two characters that could not be more different, only to reveal that they are the same person in a brutal gut-punching twist. Witness the misery, gaze upon the face of true despair. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has not one, not two, but actually 3 villains, which has always worked great for Spider-Man movies. Kingpin's the final boss, Lady Doc Ock is the active antagonist who's working for Kingpin, and the Prowler is the mercenary who Kingpin hires to kill Spider-Man. And it is because of this complex villain structure that the Prowler is able to sneak under everyone's radar and be this movie's twist villain. But the main reason the Prowler is a better twist villain than anything Disney has released is because instead of waiting until the end of the movie, they establish the villain early and make it actually believable that they are the same person. Modern writers seem to believe that making a villain a third act surprise is an easy way to make them iconic and seemingly sophisticated, so they'll try to keep the evil villain and their nice counterpart as separate as possible to make sure you can't see it coming. But I feel like that's kinda cheating. I mean, it's one thing to write a twist that surprises the characters, but isn't the whole appeal of twist villains that they showed you all these hints and clues that went under your nose? If you don't give any hints as to who the villain is, then you can't be all like gotcha to the audience. You need to give multiple signs that they are evil, signs that the audience can look back on and see from a different point of view. But of course, if you give too many winks at the camera, people will catch on that you are trying to fool them, and nothing's more pathetic than a predictable twist villain that acts like they gotcha. So therefore, you have to work these hints naturally into the story to keep the audience's suspicions down low. Aaron working as the Prowler means that he makes the big bucks, but this is passed off as him being Miles' cool rich uncle, a common stereotype in families, and from his work experience it makes sense that he would know the super cool spot to paint. He even has practice climbing this fence quickly. But nah, that's just how cool he is. He used to be an engineer, don't worry about it. Oh, he says he doesn't like Miles' dad being a cop and that he shouldn't be so strict about following the rules. That's just what it means to be a cool uncle. See, what makes these hints work is that none of them come across as strange when you first watch them. Nowadays, writers try to put all these hints in just to let you know that something cool will happen later, and it's really awkward when a movie gives you something meaningless just to go, don't worry, it'll all make sense later. But all of these signs make perfect sense and don't feel out of place in the story. You would never realistically assume that this guy is secretly evil. And for those really paranoid film viewers who know the tropes and are looking out for this sort of thing, this movie's got another subtle way to trick you. Uncle Aaron gets a pretty solid introduction showing us how charismatic he is. I mean, look at this guy. He's so cool. He's got a sick place, he watches Community, and listens to some epic music. In this scene, he gets to talk to Miles, who's had a lot of trouble adapting to his school. Miles can't help but feel crushed by the expectations that his parents place on him. But with Uncle Aaron, he can lay back, chill out, talk about the ladies.
Oh, no. Like, hey. No. Hey.
In these moments, Miles feels like he can truly be himself, and you can really hear his tone of voice change and relax when he talks to Aaron, because even though they don't address any of their problems directly, you can tell that they each have personal issues that they're trying to sort out. Even if it's just Aaron showing Miles a place to put up his art, you can tell that it's because he sees that Miles is in need of an outlet to be able to express himself. Contrast this to when the Prowler is introduced. Miles is having a bad time. He just got thrown into this world-ending catastrophe, was told he needs to save the world with a flash drive, and watched Spider-Man get capped right in front of him. Kingpin doesn't even skip a beat. He's just like, kill that guy, and leaves Miles to be chased by this supervillain. In these moments, Miles is given no choice, no freedom. All he can do is run away from the purple guy. In fact, this is how every interaction Miles has with the Prowler goes. Miles is scared, Prowler appears, Miles has to run away. It can't even be called a fight. After a while, the Prowler basically becomes a constant reminder that he needs to become Spider-Man or else he'll die. It's horrifying. This is the opposite of how he feels around Aaron, so it makes sense that Miles would never see it coming. By giving both personas such different vibes, you as an audience member subconsciously separate both characters, and for Miles this creates a whole load of irony because now he is unknowingly running both away and towards the same person. The fear of being chased by the Prowler only increases Miles' need for moral support. And the thing is, Miles has a lot of people in his life that care about him. His dad, Peter B, and Gwen are all people that he knows and loves, but his uncle is the only one that he truly looks up to. He's the only one that he feels safe with, and it's that sense of trust that leads him to sneak into his house without his knowledge. Because of that trust, Miles finds out the horrible truth. His uncle Prowler is the Aaron. In an instant, this scene creates a visceral reaction for everyone. As an audience member, you had grown to love Aaron for the kindness he showed towards Miles, but now that perception has been radically shifted. But for Miles, this is pure agony. To him, it's as if his uncle, the person he loved, the person he thought he knew, the only person he thought truly understood him, just disappeared before his eyes. Now he is totally alone, and once again all he can do is run away from the Prowler. Miles has been evading his problems and dodging around his issues, but now he is given no other choice. He has to go back to the others, and he has to shut down that collider, or else he and everything he cares about will be destroyed. But it's just too much for Miles. His psyche is at its absolute limit. His inability to face any of his challenges has now put everyone in terrible danger, and he feels like it's all his fault, until at last he is finally cornered. This is the Prowler's finest hour in the movie. In a final act of desperation, Miles takes off his mask and reveals his face to Aaron in the hopes that he might spare him. And for an instant, the movie creates true fear. Fear from Miles, but most importantly, fear from the audience. Because once you see Aaron's reaction to Miles being his prey, you can't possibly predict what he will do. Will he let Miles live because he loves him? Or was that person that we knew a lie all along? And to me, this is the most important part of writing a twist villain. In the real world, people can lie about who they are. They can pretend to be completely different people in order to manipulate others. But when you do this in writing, you're basically telling the audience that the time they spend with that character was worthless. So if you're going to have a twist villain, you have to write some connective tissue between the villain and their alter ego. Convince the audience that these are the same person. If Aaron killed Miles then and there, all of their bonding time would have been for nothing. All of those moments of Aaron encouraging Miles to be happy with who he is and to learn to express himself would now be seen as a hollow message, a lie. But these moments are crucial to understanding Aaron's character, which is why he chooses to spare Miles despite the danger that it poses to him. Despite the truth behind the Prowler, Aaron always wanted what was best for Miles. He saw something special in him, and by almost killing Miles, he realized that he had failed him. Miles was just a kid unsure about his own abilities. He needed his uncle to give him the confidence to believe in himself, but Aaron let him down. So in his last words, he reassures Miles that this is not his fault, and that he was the best of all of them. So maybe his uncle turned out to be an evil murderer, but Miles always kept him in touch with his humanity. All of those talks they had with each other showed that Aaron had a loose sense of justice, but that he still felt responsible to help Miles. And that is why this twist works, because it doesn't try to lie to you about a pre-established character just for cheap shock. It gives you a half-truth about who Aaron was and then expands on it in an unexpected way. It's a highly efficient twist that makes Miles question his abilities, but also pushes him to understand what makes him a good Spider-Man. Ironic, isn't it? Whether for good or for evil, all of the Prowler's actions led to Miles becoming Spider-Man. Whether he chased him down or told him to be confident, even taking him underground is what got him bitten by the spider. And I know that not everyone was gotten by this twist. Some people saw it coming. Others were me. But the fact that I have seen this movie about 10 times and I still notice something new every time tells me that this is one of the best twist villains we've ever had. Can't wait to see him in the sequel. That's all I've got for this video. Goodbye!